Hi, everyone. This is Carrie Watson, the founder of Outside Looks, resources for specialty retailers. Today, we're talking about different types of receiving styles. So, independent retailers, what's your receiving style? Do you drip in merchandise a little bit at a time, or do you flood the shop with all the new merchandise all at once? Let's discuss and discover the positives and the negatives of each. And I wanted to take the time today to talk about this and to specifically discuss how the scheduling of the flow of your merchandise can impact your business in both the obvious and the discreet ways. So, the first way, flood method. The definition of that is receiving 3 to 6 months of merchandise in a short period of time, which is also known commonly in our outdoor specialty retail industry as being front loaded. The positives of this, you have fewer purchase orders to manage, you have fewer invoices to manage, and by receiving so much all at once, the store instantly feels fresh. And I think that's about it. Those are all of the positives for the flood method. There are many more negatives, in my opinion. The first the receiving department is bombarded and makes a lot of mistakes because they are bombarded and stressed out and there's so much to manage. Visual merchandising is a wreck. The store is too full and it's hard to move around. There isn't enough room for the sales rack, and all of the less desirable merchandise moves into storage and you can't cash out on it. And it just gets older. You're constantly rearranging the old products to make the store look and feel different. The staff loses their zeal about the merchandise that used to be new, and the merchandise, as it starts to age, there's nothing new coming in to reinvigorate the sales staff, and they get bored. They stop talking about what used to be new. Merchandise flooding, this breeds a complacent, well, let's just wait and see sell through mentality versus one where you want to take action. So the idea is that, oh, well, we just have to wait and see. I'll do it later. The sell through will come once the sales come. It's very complacent, and I don't like that we are offloading the responsibility to a later time of the year. After seeing the new merchandise, your customers that come frequently, they don't see anything new for a while after that. So your customer gets bored and there's not much curiosity to bring them back in to see what's new the next time. Your popular items, the popular colors, and your popular sizes all sell, but they can't be replenished because 100% of your budget was actually spent on the initial shipments. Then your sell through starts to suffer because your merchandise mix isn't balanced, it isn't correct. And then your margin starts to suffer because your aged merchandise has to be discounted in order to move it because it's the less favorable sizes, colors, merchandise, so on. So that is a vicious cycle all on its own. Merchandise flooding equals increased inventory ownership. Even if it's only temporary, you still have more because you received so much at one point in time. So we can agree that you have more. Your increased ownership in this capacity equals increased risk. So, for example, what happens if you want to chase a 20% sales increase? Well, you're going to write your orders up 20%. What happens if there's a recession, political uncertainty, increased tariffs, and natural disaster? What happens if winter doesn't happen or in general the weather doesn't cooperate? Any of these things can very realistically result in soft sales. And then your 20%, your good intentions of growing your sales by 20% by writing orders up 20%, all of a sudden you're stuck with 20% extra inventory because you brought it all in at once. You didn't get a read on the season, and you're just stuck with it. So it's super risky to be leveraging yourself at that level. And lastly, all of your invoices are all due all at once, resulting in a very jolty type of cash flow. So At the end of your selling season, you have to write one big fat check, and that can hurt. So the other type of receiving method I call the drip method, where you receive a little bit every month and the receiving trend has a tendency to follow your sales trend. So in theory, you're receiving next month's sales this month. You're anticipating your sales needs by receiving it this month. As you can imagine, I like this mentality a lot more. So the positives here, you have the peaks and the valleys of sales are mirrored by your receiving. Your receiving department is predictable, it's steady, and it's accurate. Your visual merchandiser highlights each one of your products at the right time without any space constraints. Shoppers and staffers can navigate freely among your sales floor without intrusive obstacles, right? And we have room for the sales rack, and we can cash out on every piece of old dusty inventory. The drip of new products constantly inspires your visual merchandiser to react to the sales and to react to the new merchandise coming in. And then they'll create a compelling customer shopping experience to mirror the sales, the receiving, the time of the year, the seasonality. Your merchandiser is very talented, so let them do that. The staff has a tendency, your sales staff will geek out on every new piece of merchandise that comes in, no matter if it's just one thing or if it's 3 million things. So allow them to geek out on that one thing as often as possible. They stay excited about it, they get engaged with it, it's front of mind, and it's on top of the shelf. So then they start to talk about it with your customer. It's a very natural thing, a very natural sales conversation. Well, look at this new thing that we got. Let me go show you. Merchandise stripping also creates the expectation that merchandise should sell in 30 to 60 days. If it gets past 60 days, then we need to take action. Increase customer curiosity and frequency because you're constantly getting new and different items. So your customer comes more frequently. If you're able to convert that traffic and increase your average items per sale and increase your average ticket, then just do the math and your revenue should go up because of that. Your popular items and colors and sizes will sell just like when you flood in inventory. But in this environment, we can actually refill the best sellers and make more money on them because we're filling in our proper sizes, the popular colors, the most successful styles. Then we're able to learn what our proper size curve is. Then we can maximize our margin, and it will increase over time because we don't have to immediately put those extra smalls or the double XLs on sale once the popular sizes have sold through. So with merchandise stripping, you also have sell-through control. Control always means less risk and more power. By dripping merchandise and observing your customer's reaction in terms of sales, we create a time buffer so we can react and prepare for the future. You have the power to capitalize on successes, mitigate risk, cash out on mistakes, and cancel your future mistakes that you might be anticipating now that you have sales trend data, but you didn't know 8 months ago when you had to place your pre-seasons. Another positive is that your invoices are consistently due soon after the shipment has been received and has been sold. So that encourages smooth and manageable cash flow operations since you've cashed out on your recent receipt and you have that money available to pay the invoice. So smooth sailing. The negatives in a drip method, well, there aren't any. So here at Outside Looks, our most successful retailers drip product according to our merchandise receiving schedules. They know exactly how much to spend each month in each category for each location. We forecast the sales and we hold them accountable to metrics like turn, margin, and GMROI. We operate on a month-to-month agreement with seamless data integration for most point-of-sale systems. If you need a demo, go to our website, outsidelooks.com, and hit the contact button, and there's a calendar link where you can place a request to do a demo. Again, my name is Carrie Watson. I look forward to chatting with you. I hope you found a little bit of value out of today's session, and I'll talk to you soon.